What's up, everyone, and welcome to Hungover Podcast, episode 146. I'm one of your hosts, Julien.
And I didn't interrupt Julien because I'm the other host, Ivan, and I, after 100 and probably like only 30 something of these, Julien has done all of them. I have done not all of them.
I'm committed to the podcast.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm committed to Julien.
That's fair enough.
He keeps bringing me back in. I'm like Al Pacino in the Godfather series.
Dude.
And eventually I will die.
Spoiler
But
alert.
until then, I'm going to consume everything I can. And Julien, we start every episode by bantering back and forth until we ask each other one simple question. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop?
I haven't had one of those in decades, I think, at this point.
And the best
at least
flavor?
a decade. I don't know. I don't like lollipops. I hate hard candy. It's disgusting.
Hot take here on
Hot take.
Hungover Podcast.
Hard candy is disgusting.
I hate gummies.
doing yourself
I think gummies are
disservice.
disgusting.
We have opposite opinions on candy, apparently. I love gummy candy if I'm going to go for any sort of candy. In reality, I'm not the biggest candy guy. Of course, I'm a chocolate guy when it comes to candy, in all reality. But I am not
also
a hard candy guy.
Love chocolate, but the whole that was the whole thing about the Tootsie Roll Pop is that you got the hard candy on the inside. You got the Tootsie Roll.
Yeah, I
pop
was
and
not
then the
trying to
Tootsie
get
Roll.
in there. I couldn't do it. I always found that Tootsie Roll Pops and Jolly Ranchers were something that I just didn't want anything to do with when I was a kid. Those were not my favorite things to eat. I'll tell you
Feels
that
like
much.
you had no joy.
Maybe I
That's
didn't.
what it feels like to me.
Maybe I didn't. I don't know. Like to dislike ratio, we're about to find out on YouTube.
Great point. But you know what else
They're getting
I
rid of
consumed this
dislike
week? You'll
What did
find
you do?
out right after Julien tells us about his week.
Really?
See what I did there? Ha ha.
Whoa, you better stay tuned for that, because this is how we get people to listen longer into our podcast.
Or immediately turn it off because
yes.
we haven't said anything yet.
For me, Vaughn, I spent, I think, like 8 hours today. Today was my Sunday, and today is Friday, the 23rd. I spent, I think, about 8 hours playing Final Fantasy VII Remake today. I'm trying to clean up the trophy list and get myself ready.
Yeah, I know, because I messaged you that my wired connection was fine for my PC, and you're like, oh, that's great, bruh. Are we going to podcast later? Not
Yep.
like, oh, that's awesome. Let's do some Overwatch competitive. Fuck you.
Nope.
No, that was not Julian's plan.
I was knee deep in it, Ivan. I'm sorry. I can't stop until I get these trophies, man. I'm sorry. I'm already like, it took me maybe 40 somewhat hours to beat the game the first time. I think I'm at over 55 hours right now, just getting trophies after the fact, after my first playthrough. So I'm already 15 hours into this. I can't stop. I need to see it through into the point where I can wait for the patch, the 60 frames per second, the PS5 patch, so I can just beat the game in hard mode and be done with it. That's it. So I don't know. I am having fun still. The game is just something.
What? Stamp of approval.
Stamp of approval.
I think I'm having fun still
not
at this
sure.
point.
I was very frustrated earlier today because I didn't optimize my routes, man. And you have to keep playing. If there's, say, like a collectible in a certain chapter, once you beat the game, you get access to chapter select, so you can go back and get collectibles and do all the miscellaneous trophies. But if you select a particular chapter, you have to play through the beginning of that chapter, for instance. So let's say the collectible is only accessible at the end of the chapter. You have to play through that whole chapter. You can't like teleport to the point in that chapter where you'll be able to collect that collectible. So I totally missed
That feels normal though.
No,
That
it's
feels
totally normal. It's just an annoyance because I was playing through a particular chapter, chapter 9. Oh no, it was chapter 3. I had to do you played up into the point in the original Final Fantasy, so you know about Don Corneo and that whole story plot device, right? Where with Cloud wears the dress and things or whatever. So in this game, there's 3 dresses for Cloud, Tifa, and Aerith, and you get a trophy if you get all of those dresses. So you have to play through 3 separate chapters 3 times in order to get all of the dresses, and thus get that trophy. But there's also a collectible that I missed in chapter 3, and I realized that after playing through all of this 3 times. So I played through chapter 3 a 4th time, which is really frustrating. When I could have just gotten that particular it was a music disc. It's just a collectible thing on literally any of those playthroughs. Anyways, that's nonsense. That's getting a platinum trophy for you. Just get frustrated after a while. What else have I been playing? I've been playing Metal Gear Solid 3 again on my PlayStation Vita, getting some trophies there while I'm taking the train. Pretty fun stuff. Can't complain. I basically play the game for, 5 minutes, and then I watch a cutscene for the rest of the train ride. It's awesome. I love Kojima and his video games, so I can't complain. It's like this game has really cool cutscenes and it's a really engaging story, so I do like Metal Gear Solid 3 a lot.
Yeah, I don't understand why people say that he hasn't already made a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the video game I'm still waiting for him to make.
Yeah. That is a fair statement, Yvonne. Totally fair statement. And I also started Yakuza 3. I think I already said that, but it's a great game. A little weird in that there's no run button, but maybe that's just how the game was originally. I guess it was. But it's cool in the remaster. It runs at 60 frames per second, which is a nice upgrade from Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami, and Kiwami 2, which all ran at 30 frames per second. So this game looks really smooth by comparison. So it's a really cool game. Had a lot of fun playing that on stream. And I also cooked something from an anime called Shokugeki Kaisen or something like that. It's called Food Wars. No, I'm thinking of Jujutsu Kaisen. I've actually only watched a little bit. I didn't watch all of it. But I
thought you and Nikki loved that show.
No, we do. We definitely love that show. It's a great show. We just never finished it for some reason. Something we can go back to now that I have an Funimation account. And so
you broke into the Funimation subscription?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, it's a great subscription. It's so valuable to me, as opposed to anime to me is what everyone else loves their fucking shows nowadays, and I can't be bothered to watch like Game of Thrones and whatever else there is out there. Marvel TV shows, get the fuck out of here. I can't watch it. It's too much time commitment. But I will definitely watch an anime. Because I don't know, that's just what I like to watch, so I watch anime instead.
I like the people at Funimation. I've done
you've
touch of work with them before.
They seem like
they were
cool
good
company.
people.
They seem like a cool company. I would try to get into that realm if I were you, but me in your position. Not obviously you do what you want to do. But
I mean, I wasn't dealing with like
the anime people.
Well,
who knows?
I can't really get into what I was dealing with actually. So
okay,
I take it all back. I never dealt with them at all.
I don't know who they are. What is Funimation? So this show is a silly basic silly cooking show, but they make over the top dishes. This dish I made was essentially it was called the gotcha pork roast, and it made sense in the plot. If you take it out of context, this dish doesn't really make any sense. But I mean, it was delicious. Don't get me wrong. But essentially, it was a bacon wrapped mashed potatoes.
It looked awesome.
It
looked so delicious.
Good. It was good. I mean, I used the bacon that I literally made, so I mean that I've got a step up on everyone else who made this dish online. I watched a couple videos. They all bought bacon. Whatever. I made the bacon. Fuck you.
Is that
and
you
I
made it in your
it.
smoker, or you made it at work?
No, at work. It's the bacon from work. I took it off the animal. I skinned it. I cured it. And then the boss smokes it because we don't have a smoker at work. But I sliced it. That's a step up. So I got to control the thickness. I mean, that's cool. I got to control the thickness of the bacon. A lot of people don't get that sort of access, and so that was.
Wegmans sells a pork belly.
They sell pork belly,
a slab of pork belly.
Nice, but we have access to a deli slicer at work, so it's a little more precise than just your knife. It can be
right.
hey, it can be pretty it can be pretty hard to slice bacon thinly or whatever like medium thickness I use with just a knife and get an even cut the whole way through.
It moves so much.
Yeah, pork belly is not necessarily the most rigid thing, and then also your knife has bevel, so it's
the title of the
can
podcast.
Be hard to do that.
Bacon is not the most rigid thing.
And that's what you come here for. So it was a fun dish to make. And then you make a red wine reduction sauce. Very delicious. Very anime. And it was great. I had a good time. I still have a lot. And I still have a lot of mashed potatoes now, too. And then also, just now, Nikki and I found this new anime called Super Cub. It's this cute sort of slice of life anime. There's only 3 episodes now. Right now, it just aired, and it's about this cute little Japanese schoolgirl or Japanese high school student, and she buys a Honda Super Cub, which is a little motorbike, and it's about her life with her her really quaint slice of life situation. She lives by herself. She's making friends. She has no friends. It's like really wholesome. So if you're looking for just a chill anime to watch, and you've seen everything, all the new shit, you might as well go check this one out. There's 3 episodes right now. You can knock it out and then wait for the next episode. So that
sounds wonderful. Cool. That sounds like a delight.
It's a really relaxing anime to watch. We had a lot of fun watching the 3 episodes just now. Yeah, that's all I did, Ivan, in the past 2 days.
I've got several upcoming flights, so maybe I'll figure out a way to download and watch.
It's a relaxing show. I mean, it's no commitment. It's just about this girl's life. It's not stressful at all. You know, there's no violence or anything that I know of. And it's great. It's a great show.
Just the social violence of the stigma of having no friends.
Yes, I don't really know why she lives by herself when she's in high school in Japan. What's going on? I don't really know. But it's still a sweet, wholesome show.
Sounds sus to me.
She makes a friend in the 2nd episode, spoiler alert. Okay, anyways. Ivan, that's enough for me. It's enough weeb talk. Tell me what you've been doing. You macho guy who does cool things.
Yeah.
Tell me what you've been up to.
I have done so many cool things. So because I'm currently out of work until Monday, I have occasionally had been to some restaurants here around town. I've had oysters. Then nice. I had char-broiled oysters. Then I those were both delicious. At a place called Acme down in the French Quarter, amazing.
Go check
I
it
had gumbo at
Hell
the gumbo shop.
The old
It was pretty
gumbo
good.
shop.
Pretty good bowl of gumbo. Then I had some beer today at a place in Bywater called Bywater Brew Pub. Bywater Brew Pub.
Mm-hmm.
Which the beer was pretty. They had like one beer that I would probably go back and drink again, which I think was the red ale, which I can't remember off the top of my head what it was. But the Pilsner was okay too, just the straight Pils. A lot of their beers had Pilsner in it, and then it was like mixed with different hops and things. So it was, a lot of their beers are in the style of beer that I am currently preferring. So I'll probably go back and drink more. Maybe I had the wrong meal. I had they Yaki Main, which was like pho, but it felt like pho in the style of like ramen. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
They had like the
completely
soy soft boiled egg thing, the noodles, and some beef in there. I don't know. It was okay. It's not like, when I've ordered pho in a lot of other different places, they bring you out, the bowl. You got the rice noodles. You got your basil, your fixins,
the string beans.
Yeah.
The lime.
Jalapeno slices.
Sometimes, yeah.
And
that's a delightful dish. It's got a bunch of really cilantro, really fresh flavors.
Hot chili sauce
from
and
Vietnam. Delicious.
And what's the salty black or like black brown sticky sauce?
Hoisin sauce.
Hoisin. That I couldn't remember enough off the top of my head. This had none of that. So in that it was slightly disappointing. It had like some scallion in it.
Well, the Japanese don't fuck with hoisin.
Yeah.
That's a Chinese thing.
But it was like it's got a real Vietnamese vibe, but then they took this pho and like made it like a fusion style thing in the Japanese vein, and I thought, not for me.
No, okay.
Not for me. Other than that, what have I been doing?
By the way, sorry. If you're looking for, I just remembered, if you're looking for a good diner in New Orleans, you should go to Camellia Grill, I think. Camellia Grill. It's just a really awesome greasy spoon diner.
Where is it?
I think it's... I'm not really sure.
This place is, I think, probably close to me.
Yeah, it's. I assume you're in one of the nearby surrounding areas to it. I would check it out.
Oh, this place is actually really close to me.
Yeah, I would check. Go there for breakfast tomorrow. It's delicious.
Half-hour walk or something from where.
When I visited my buddy when we were in college, I took that road trip down to New Orleans. We would go there a lot during the week I was there. It was delicious. Sorry to interrupt you.
I'll go try. I've been literally in that neighborhood. I run through that neighborhood basically every day because I run down that main road,
nice.
Carrollton.
Does that has like a
the trolley
park?
Runs? Yeah, the trolley runs through the middle of the street.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds very familiar. That's cool. Nice.
Yeah. So I've been going on runs finally again. And on Sunday, I'm flying back to Syracuse.
Okay.
And I'm going to work in Syracuse for a month, and then I'm going to come back down. And I'm going to work in New Orleans for the next
month?
9 months.
That's a long time.
I know.
Why are you... so you're just leaving all your stuff in this place?
Yeah, just when... Well,
Just when you set up your PC.
Yeah, just when I set up my PC.
When are you flying back?
Sunday.
Oh, shit. Wow.
I know. Just when we were finally we're gaming together.
This is why Sunday and Monday off this week.
I was so disappointed that we didn't play today because, well, you couldn't have known, but I was not going to be able to ever play for the next month. Basically.
I'll play with you tomorrow night if you want, or tonight, whatever you want.
Yeah, man. So that's my life. It's going to be this has been basically 4 weeks of a podcast in a different location every week.
Yeah.
And next week will be
Back in
location
Syracuse.
number 5, back to Syracuse.
Well, that's your life now. Well, at least you're flying instead of driving back.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my car locked up in a secure parking lot or whatever, and then get it at some point when I get back. But it's really fun to have your life bounce around as much as I have so far, and it's great. I really love it. That's the place that I moved into still doesn't have hot water.
Nice.
And it's been a week after I moved in.
So you have to make sure you go for a run before you take a shower.
Exactly.
That's hilarious.
Because I have to have the heat of the day to balance out. Luckily, the shower stall itself is massive. It's like 7 to 8 feet long. It's got a bench on one side, so I can get like under the shower, like get all wet, and then I can step out of the shower, soap up.
So you're not freezing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
but
awesome.
It is I hate cold showers so
I don't like them
much. It's literally the regular thing that I cannot stand.
Cold showers are trash. Trash.
Yeah, there's that. The alarms touchpad has been beeping this whole time since I moved in. And the property manager has... No, there's like a home alarm system.
Security alarm. Okay.
Yeah. And, yeah, that's been beeping the whole time.
Is it because it's low on battery? Or
Nope. It's a whole different procedure that I don't truly want to get into. Suffice to say, I can still activate the alarm, but it reminds me that it's there all the time.
How are you sleeping? I need to know if that's beeping, because you know how a fire alarm is very audible when it runs low on battery. It's the worst.
This is slightly less decibels.
Okay.
It is in the room that is adjacent to the bedroom.
Okay. That sucks.
But I can tune it out. I also usually go to bed listening to like a podcast or like a book or something when I live alone, because
like our podcast.
Sounds I couldn't sleep listening to our podcast. It's too exciting.
It's such a great podcast. Man.
It's such a good time. I listen to the other Hungover Podcast to go to sleep.
God damn it. Stop giving them more numbers than us.
Yeah, so noise I can tune out. Now, if it was bright in that room, then I would have a real issue, because light bothers me going to sleep. Even like a sliver of light can really fuck with my ability to sleep. But noise, I can sleep through. Okay. It's because when I was growing up, my sister snored like the devil.
Ugh.
And she snored. I literally thought it was an alien or a monster in the room. I was just like, there's no way that my sister is making this noise.
Does she have sleep apnea?
I don't know what it is, but it was a pretty disastrous snore.
My dad, both my parents have. I think my dad has sleep apnea, but he's too old to diagnose himself with something new right now.
He's not gonna slap on the CPAP.
No. But yeah, both my parents snore a lot. So I remember traveling with my dad. It was the worst. If we ever stayed in the same, which we always,
you have to go to
hotel
sleep.
Room.
You have to go to sleep first.
Yeah, but I can't. I couldn't do that.
It's like a race. Either I fall asleep first, or I don't fall asleep for the next 6 hours.
Yeah.
Which helps the next day, but then you're alternating between days that you can sleep and days that you can't. It's actually a
exactly
torture
it,
mechanism.
Snoring, yeah. I don't know why it evolved to be that way, but I hate it. I can't, yeah. Oh man. I really can't sleep when it comes to snoring. That's one sound that will forever keep me up. It's really bad.
I snore and I grind my teeth audibly.
And I snore too. I'm not saying there's a problem if you snore. I'm just saying I'm not.
There's a
going to be able to
problem
sleep.
for other people.
Yes, me. I'm not going to be able to sleep. It's a totally natural thing to do. Just
don't do it near me when I'm sleeping.
Oh well.
Yeah. Luckily, we never had that issue. Our rooms were never paper thin when we lived next.
Right. Yeah.
When we lived in the same apartment, so that was good. Because otherwise, I would have destroyed you.
We wouldn't be doing this
podcast. Because of the fact that I have been home alone for a long time, I was doing two things of comfort. I re-listened to The Cartel again on audiobook. Oh, yeah. Such a fantastic book. It's one of the best stories I've ever listened to. And it's like 21 hours. It's great because it takes up a lot of time. I've listened to it like, this is probably my 5th full reread.
Nice.
Re-listen. So I can miss some stuff. I can catch back into stuff. I'll tune into the points that I really want to listen to. So it's good like background noise, driving around noise, running noise. Because I don't always run with like music. A lot of the time I'll just run with like a podcast or an audiobook.
Nice.
So I've been doing that again, and then I just started a rewatch of Gilmore Girls.
Sick. You love that show.
I do love that show. It's such a good show.
You and Nikki love that show so much.
It's great comfort food.
Yeah.
And I also started watching Ted Lasso. To the point where Ted Lasso is an Apple TV Plus show with Jason Sudeikis, who plays I think he co-wrote and co-created the character in the show, but he plays a American football coach from like Oklahoma, who wins the national title for college, and then gets offered a job coaching an English Premier Soccer team. That is in the midst of tumult because the owners are getting divorced, and in the proceedings of the divorce, the ex-wife now gets the team, and so she makes the hire of Ted Lasso, and more hilarity ensues. It's a kind of like a lighthearted comedy with like moments of dark. But it's, for the most part, pretty lighthearted. And it's a nice, good time. I watched it last night in a half hour, and I was like, okay, just one more. Okay, just one more. And then I went to bed at 2 a.m. So
You got.
Yeah. I was just standing around in my massive living room, which I actually really enjoy about this place.
Nice.
And just, like, juggling a tennis ball and watching this soccer show. The soccer is actually really bad in the show. I have to say, but the story is funny and everything that happens around it is pretty good. So I like that. But you know what wasn't funny or is really funny in the world of soccer, depending on what side of the argument you're on?
This guy literally took notes to do this.
The European Super League.
I saw what you were doing as soon as you explained that show was about soccer and the English Premier League. We're going to be talking about the European Super League, or what could be the downfall of European soccer, Ivan.
Yeah, it's a crazy-ass story.
I read about it, and I need you to explain it a little bit more. I spent a good 30 minutes. I watched a news report about it. I read the New York Times article about it, and I'm still a little confused as to what's going on. So I think you can definitely give our listenership a really good rundown of what's going on.
So here's the general gist of it is European soccer is divided into like a national club scheme. So there's a national league, and then there are international, like European competitions. Each of these national leagues is dominated by a small number of superpower teams that rake in cash and spend a lot more than that a lot of the time in order to keep their buildings, like their infrastructure,
Players,
as cool and up to date as possible. They have a huge amount of staff and technology that goes into supporting their very expensive players. Basically, what they do is if there's anybody coming up that has a chance of being good, they'll just fucking buy those people and get them onto their club.
the rich get richer.
Yes,
as it were.
There were secret negotiations occurring in back rooms all across Europe to unify these top clubs into a singular competition called the European Super League. So it was designed to have 20 teams in it with spots guaranteed to these founding clubs, 15 founding clubs. And the whole point of from their perspective is the founding team clubs is these clubs generate massive amounts of money for the domestic championships. So whether it be Juventus in the Italian league, or Barcelona and Real Madrid in the Spanish La Liga, or Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, Liverpool, Man City in the EPL. So the English Premier League. So these are Paris Saint-Germain, and then like Bayern Munich as well in Germany. So you have the four major leagues, and the Italian, Spanish, French, and German, plus the English Premier League, which is no longer European Union, but is still Europe, right? So these clubs were like, we generate so much revenue for our domestic leagues, but we don't see a equal share of revenue from TV deals, sponsorship deals, those kinds of revenue sharing schemes that leagues generate. Like if you pay attention to any of this at all, recently the NFL has gone through huge, massive negotiations with like Amazon and a few of the broadcasting networks to renegotiate the rights to show games on like Thursday and Monday night, and then which games go on Sunday at which time slots. And these are massive deals that are worth billions of dollars. But these clubs, overall, soccer clubs lost revenue from $6.5 billion to $8.5 billion over the past year in 2020. So these top European clubs were like, we bring in the most domestic product for broadcast, and international for broadcast, but we don't receive the amount of revenue that is proportionate to our draw. So we're going to form our own league in which the owners of these clubs will completely control the broadcast rights, sponsorship deals, basically all of the revenue that they would get from a standard league, they would be able to get within themselves. But it would also water down the competition for domestic championships to a point, and it would challenge the greatest money driver in European soccer, which is the European Champions League.
Right.
The Champions League obviously is like the best clubs from every single country compete against each other in this month-long tournament.
Yeah.
And it's very prestigious. Lots of people watch it across the world. it's not as popular as the World Cup, but it's probably the next the next biggest thing. Like after a World Cup tournament, it's the Champions League. And that happens every year as opposed to every 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a massive challenge to European soccer to form this Super League. Because if these are the clubs that are going to win the Champions League every year anyway, why watch the Champions League? Because you're just watching these clubs compete at the highest level against each other. And it would create an incredible draw. But...
Okay. Yeah. No. Okay. Yes. Keep going. Keep going.
It created a fucking shitstorm of epic proportions across the world. Soccer is one of, if not the most popular global sport.
Mm-hmm.
And it caused people to break curfew and lockdown procedures in the UK. There were people who shut down traffic to Stamford Bridge, which is the Chelsea stadium. So it forced the club executive to calm down and like calm the crowd in order for them to disperse. And basically within 72 hours of the league getting announced, it's basically done and gone away. And it's one of the more interesting things. I think that what we've been talking about this year, really, Julien, is a lot of little man versus big man.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of, if there's a theme across the several podcasts that we discussed, from GameStop to, what was the one that we did right after GameStop?
We did CD Projekt Red. We talked about them for a little bit.
Yeah. CD Projekt Red, and then I can't remember. We do so many of these podcasts that it's hard to remember. But the through line that I remember that we talk about, to the Amazon unionization, is the majority of people uniting together to have a voice that can challenge the 1% of 1%. And I think that we saw here in this revolution, this revolt against the European Super League, something that we haven't seen before. So, Julien, after that very long explanation of everything, skipping all of the interesting anecdotes.
Yes.
I think the most interesting thing is that the UEFA, the head of UEFA and the head of the president of Juventus are really close allies. So Alexander Čeferin, I think is his name, or Čeferin. He's a Slovenian lawyer who's the head of UEFA. Is close friends with the head of Juventus, Andrea Agnelli. And they were talking to each other, but Alexander was getting a little worried about the situation because rumors were going about that this league was about to be unveiled, just as negotiations on reforms to the Champions League were being conducted. So this would undermine the reforms to the Champions League. And so he's like, okay, I'm going to drive to the office. It's an 8-hour drive from his home to his office. So on his way, he calls Andrea Agnelli, who's one of them is the godfather to one of the other's children. He calls Andrea Agnelli's wife, gets Andrea Agnelli to call him back. They discuss a joint statement to reassure everybody in the world that it'll be fine. Call back and forth to each other, and then Andrea's like, "Give me an hour." Okay, an hour goes by. Give me 2 hours. 2 hours go by. Give me half an hour to revise this before we release it. And then he turned off his cell phone. And then they announced that the European Super League was coming out. And Alexander's like, what the fuck?
Wait, so maybe I misheard you, but you said that they announced it and then they canceled it?
Yes.
So it's not happening anymore at all.
Well, that's kind of up in the air, but basically, yeah, it's done because all 6 of the English clubs that were going to be founding members have withdrawn. Bayern Munich, PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, and one other German club
Did
withdrew consideration for being part of it before they were even part of the thing. So that's
they
like,
weren't. So those clubs were not aware that this league was even gonna be formulated, and then it was.
No, these are clubs that they were like, yes, we're in the European Super League, let's go. Other than the Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern Munich, and one or the other one, which were going to be assumed members of the founding member team. So there are 15 spots for founding members that would have for 23 years, because that's how the contract of what the league contract was, that they would have guaranteed spots in this tournament league thing. And the 6 of them were from the English Premier League. They have all backed out.
Okay. They backed out because of fan backlash and...
Exactly.
Okay, cool. I'm into that.
Yes.
That's fine.
And then 3 clubs, which were from both France and Germany, were going to be assumed members of the founding members. But as soon as the fans and people started rebelling, they withdrew their consideration to be part of the founding member team.
Okay.
And then it started just slaloming backwards.
Cool.
And many, many other teams are out.
Not unlike PlayStation
Borussia
3
Dortmund and Paris Saint-Germain were sought out by the European Super League to join, given 30 days and 14 days to sign up, but they all rejected involvement after the public condemned the concept.
Cool.
Not unlike the PSN, where there was a revolt and PlayStation announced, don't worry about it.
Exactly, which is hilarious. I can't believe they did that. So as of now, they might be going back to the drawing board, because I doubt they're going to leave this much money on the table.
Not only that, it's going to cost these clubs money to have even this as much progress as they've made. First off, they're going to get punished by their domestic leagues. There's a varying range of punishments that could be dealt to these clubs, but I think monetarily, that's going to be where they strike first, because docking them points will hurt the fan base, but fining the clubs will further hurt that those are like ways that they can further hurt that financial structure.
I see.
So it's a really, really difficult situation for these clubs to be in, because they've lost massive amounts of money over 2020, and now they're going to lose millions of dollars for contemplating and stating that they were going to join a league that went belly up immediately.
That's okay. That's a funny situation, actually. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this from an outsider's perspective. I don't really like the idea of this league, because it doesn't have any sort of performance-based metric as to whether or not you're in it. Aside from obviously those leagues having a history of being, those clubs having a history of being the best around, right?
They did have
for many years.
5 spots that were going to be like qualified spots. So there were going to be 20 teams in the league, 15 of which are the founding teams, and then 5 of which is a quarter, of which
but
would be...
as opposed to the European Champions League, which changes. I mean, generally the same teams are there, but it changes. You have a chance of getting in if you do better throughout your season, right?
Yeah,
of getting into the European Champions.
It's basically, it's like the top clubs from each of the domestic competitions, and a certain number of them based on how well they do, how well that
Makes sense.
country does in the Champions League, they get a certain number of spots.
That's how tournaments should work, in my opinion, or at least
So coming from
America, I don't know.
The perspective that you love tournaments.
I love tournaments.
Yeah. So do you
double
think
elimination?
It's
so cool.
better to have the European Champions League, which is won basically by one of these 15 clubs every year?
Yeah.
Or is it better to have those 15 clubs plus 5 other brilliant clubs face off each other week after week in this league that would be the equivalent of a AAA game every single week?
No, I see the appeal there, but it just seems I mean, I honestly, you would get the same match either way, I would assume. Right? Or like on average you would probably get the same matches, right? Because
At
the
the
15
final legs,
founding the 15 leagues are the best, and they're probably going to be the top 15 leagues in the European Champions League. But it just seems like it's not it just seems like it's just all fabricated at this point, or it seems like it's fabricated, or at least from my perspective, by and just driven by money at that point, which I think a lot of the fans sort of voiced their opinion on. It just seems like it's a fabricated way of, like, we're pitting these guys up against every single year. It's gonna be the shit, or like you're gonna love it. And so wouldn't it be, it takes the whole spirit out of it, I think, in a way, of everyone likes an underdog, I would say, right?
Yeah.
So it takes that whole variable out of the equation, which is kind
unless one of the 5
cool.
teams that gets in is a underdog style team, like
that's true,
like a Leicester City.
So that's a cool caveat to the Super League, but then I guess I just don't understand why you got the founding clubs in there. Like, why do they get to be the founding clubs? Just because they're good?
I mean, yeah,
they'll never be
good.
I understand they're very good, or there's a history of very good soccer being played at these clubs, but doesn't, and I guess there is that's like, I don't I don't even know how to word it, but I just feel like, what if they're not good though? What if they're just always going to be good? Or
all right. So here are the top clubs that have won European UEFA Champions League. Real Madrid, Milan, Bayern Munich, Liverpool, Barcelona, Ajax, Man U, Inter Milan, Juventus, Benfica, Nottingham Forest, Porto, and Celtic.
Well, I suppose my problem is that the idea is that they're never going to be unseated from that founding position, and they will always be part of this league no matter what, right? Isn't that one of the bullet points on the qualifications of this
Yeah,
league?
is that they would have the 15. But look, how many titles? Real Madrid, 13 titles, 3 runners-up. Milan, 7 titles, 4 runners-up.
That doesn't mean you deserve the next title, does it?
No, but if these are the... So, 2020, Bayern Munich. 2019, Liverpool. 2018, Real Madrid. 2017, Real Madrid. 2016, Real Madrid. 2015, Barcelona. These are all the top teams that are right now competing. So why...
You hold the championship belt until you don't, right?
But the thing is, there's already like the Champions League, and then there's a level, like another tournament that's held that's like the level below that. So
Yeah.
there's the Champions League and then the
Right, and then there's
level below
whatever it
that. So
is.
why not have the Super League, the Champions League, and then whatever the European Cup or whatever is below that? I forget what it's called.
Because of what you said, right? Isn't that what you're saying, right? Then who would even bother watching the European Champion League if they can just watch this Super League, right?
I mean,
That's the whole
that's
argument.
kind of the point, right? But if these are the top teams that are winning the Champions League every year, then why not just have them compete against each other and have a greater say? Like, what is
No,
the
yeah.
point of going in the same direction? Why not have these clubs be able to recoup the amount of money that they spend for their fans to have the stadiums that they go to and watch the players that play?
Yeah, I guess it just turns them into a spectacle, right?
I mean, it's
Which
soccer.
is
It's a
not.
spectacle.
Yeah,
It's a
I
kids'
know.
game that's played
It's like the Coliseum.
for billions of dollars.
It's like the fucking Coliseum, right? No, I'm not. I guess that's a totally valid point. I'm not connected to any of these clubs, so I don't really know. But I just like, I mean, I like the idea of, and I guess having those 5 open seats it's every year, right? Those
Yeah.
seats change every year.
Yeah.
I mean, if you explain it that way, then I don't understand what people are arguing then, I guess.
Their point exactly. But the fans immediately revolted, and I'm still a little wishy-washy on what the whole thing is, because they would still be allowed to compete at their domestic championships. It feels like this would just be something that superseded the Champions League. And I don't know why we're all sticking in the back pocket of UEFA and being like, UEFA's a great organization, FIFA's a great organization. These people really care about fandom. From my basic perspective, I don't understand why that it supersedes like why we're sticking up for the Champions League instead of the Super League. Because to me, it's just like, these are the clubs that always win the Champions League, so why not watch them play each other? It's more interesting than watching them win 11-0 against whatever shitty club from whatever shitty domestic championship
That's a good point.
they play. Why not concentrate the quality of game to a really intense competition, and they still get to play in their domestic leagues? That's the thing that I'm wondering about.
I guess my other question is that, like you're just saying, they still get to play in their domestic leagues. Does this mean that the players are going to have to be playing more games? Yeah,
well, that would
right?
presumably, if they did or didn't play in the Champions League, if these teams would have played in the Champions League, but instead withdraw from the Champions League and only play in the Super League and their domestic, and then whatever international duties that they have, then you're just superseding the games that they would have played in the Champions League with the Super League.
Yeah,
it's basically a trade-off.
Okay, and then I'm still hung up on just assuming. I understand that Liverpool, Man U, fucking Real Madrid, they're great every year, or they have been for the past 10 years, let's say, or however many years. I don't know.
Many more, but yeah.
Many more, yeah, I understand that. But I guess the idea is that it's just assuming that they're going to be good next year also.
But they are, because they outspend every other club. Like Man City.
Okay, so it's all capitalism.
Yeah, it's not.
You just buy the best players.
The difference between this, I guess, it's more like Overwatch League than it is the NFL or the NBA, where there's a draft, and you like the worst team gets to draft the best players, right? In these leagues, and in soccer in general, you just buy contracts and offer different contracts. So these clubs spend enormous amounts of money to buy out players from all sorts of clubs and pay exorbitant fees for these players to play on their team.
So I guess then that's the philosophical question. It all boils down to that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to watch Lionel Messi kick ass, right? He's one of, or I don't know if he plays anymore, but but I guess the it boils down to where do you stand on how soccer players are put on teams, right? Do you want just one super team of all of the best players, or do you want to have some sort of competition?
But that's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't think that. Why is it so unique that Leicester City won the the English Premier League? A, it was a shortened season. B, it's the only team to have won the English Premier League that wasn't spending out their asshole for players.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's such a unique story. If we look at how if we look at European soccer, these clubs are spending gigantic amounts of money. I mean, the Bayern Munich has won the German league like almost every single year. The only reasons that like Juventus wasn't winning in Italy was because they were relegated due to scandal. Barcelona and Real Madrid trade off the trophy between the two of them every year in Spain, other than Atletico Madrid, which was also going to be one of the teams in the Super League that wins every once in a while. So these are, I mean, regardless, these are the clubs that are winning. And they're winning domestically, they're winning internationally. Most of their players are also winning internationally for their countries as well. I mean, these are the top of the top of the top. I don't understand in a sense why the Super League is better than the Champions League. Now, here is where I will say there is an argument that the fans could and should make, and have probably made, is if they're playing domestic games on Saturday or Sunday on the weekend, and then they're playing these Super League games midweek so that they don't interfere. There's a much more financial backing for the club owners to be successful in, I think, the Super League, because they own all of the revenue in the Super League.
Okay.
I just... At its core, I don't understand what's the problem. I mean, is there a legacy of the Champions League? Yeah, there is one. Does that mean that we need to continue to do things the same way? I mean, no, I don't think so. I mean, the World Cup expanded many times, and it's changed its format and all this jazz, and so many more teams are in the World Cup than ever were before. You know, I don't see like doing the same thing as like being sacred in a sport that demands just shit tons of money, because we've already lost the working class styles of where football came from. Like, soccer is not a working class sport anymore. It's capitalism. I mean,
there's too much money to be made. I guess my final concern is if the players are playing, I guess they're playing maybe 1 or 2 more matches per week, then the risk of injury must go up, right?
Yeah,
and I understand that soccer
how they do it, but yeah.
I understand that soccer, unlike, say, American football, your risk of long-term injuries is much less. Brain damage probably much less. We've talked about that in the past. We talked about like long-term brain
CTE.
damage that a lot of football players sustain. But I'm just saying, like you, Ivan, you played soccer like 2 times in college, and you like broke your leg both times. So I understand that they have professional medical staff on the field all the time, but I don't know. That's their risk. Playing it on a professional level, you got to put everything into it, right? And I understand that.
I bet you get paid for it.
No, of course,
I mean,
you're
it's
getting paid
for the
many
most
more
part,
millions of
it's
dollars,
not
of course.
life and death injuries
I know,
that
but
these
it's
people
still.
get.
I mean, you should still aspire not to break your leg, right?
Yes.
You know, but I don't know. That's just a minor concern for the players. Of course, they're billionaires, probably millionaires, and they take falls anyways. We all know this. It's because they don't want to break their leg that they do that. But yeah, I guess that's one minor concern, and then I guess I didn't see like any glaring issues with it other than my sort of philosophical qualms with not having an open seat, having
the guaranteed spots.
all the seats being open. But that's just my philosophy on how a tournament should be run. But I don't know if that matters at all to anyone playing soccer or watching soccer. Clearly, it matters to a lot of the soccer fans, but they're going to be watching their favorite teams are probably one of those 15 teams anyways, like you said. So I guess when you explain it that way, I guess I don't see the problem. But
the only other thing is, like, if you're a fan of the smaller teams, there's only 5 spots open for the smaller teams, and soccer has a legacy of being a neighborhood sport, right? So there are clubs.
Go to your local pitch, have a great time.
And there are like neighborhoods in London that belong to different clubs, right? Mm-hmm. So Arsenal and Tottenham, big rivals, same city. Man U, Man City, same city, rivals. So there is a level of how much will domestic competition be watered down. There's a question of like, how much are we going to stop caring about your club making it to the Champions League or some version of that and playing in the international competition? But I don't know. I think a lot of my perspective is being in America, where everybody here is just fans of whatever the biggest club at the time is. Like, there's so many people who are just like, yeah, I'm a Barcelona fan. Yeah, I'm a Real Madrid fan. Yeah, I'm a Man City fan. And they're just fans of whoever bought the highest cost players.
Except for my friend Amos, he watches literally all the soccer. He knows all the tiny clubs.
I mean, I'm an Arsenal fan because of the first World Cup that I remember, which is the 1998 World Cup. And I love that French team. And then Thierry Henry played for Arsenal, and I love Arsenal.
Yeah, Thierry Henry was awesome.
I don't watch a lot of Arsenal right now because they're kind of garbage compared to other clubs, but they also weren't spending $1 bajillion every year for years.
Well, that's why they suck. No.
It's true.
So I guess then, I mean, I know it's been going on for a long time now. So you spend more money, you get the better players, you win the games. Then I guess that's sort of, but I mean, I don't understand. I don't know how soccer would operate without the money, right? At least
it's impossible.
On the level that it is.
Obviously,
there's no way to sustain it unless you keep putting money in it. There's no way to sustain it as it is unless they keep pumping money in at the rates that they're doing. So then that's why I guess it's just, I mean, I to a certain extent, I feel the same way about American sports past the collegiate level. And even at the collegiate level, I feel it just seems it is all a business, and then it's still about the players, and you can aspire to, look up to your favorite athlete and whatnot, but I guess it just seems like it's not an exciting thing to watch if it's just all bought, in my opinion. But when you take such a far step back that you're just looking at numbers and things like that. Obviously, the games are still entertaining to watch. But yeah, I guess, I mean, I don't really watch many sports much nowadays, so because it's actually kind of expensive to watch sports legally. if you don't pirate all the soccer channels, it's kind of expensive to watch sports.
I did.
They have to go to a bar.
Did Fubo for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Fubo TV.
I use it during the football season to watch.
Nice.
My beloved Bills.
No, I like watching sports. I'm not saying I just don't take the time out of my life to do it anymore. But it is definitely fun to watch a football game, a soccer match, and have some sort of working knowledge of what's going on. Lay back, have a slice of pizza, have a couple brews with your pals. You know, that's a lot of fun, and I do miss that for sure. Going to the pub to watch a soccer match, that's fun. I remember doing that back in my day. But it sounds like that was a pretty funny, or not funny, but it sounds like this is a lot of drama going on in the world of
it's hilarious
football.
That all these owners and managers are like, now the owners have to apologize to the managers, or people are getting fired, but they're not getting fired, they're resigning and things like that. It's pretty intense to watch, and a lot of it is due to fan reaction. So that's cool.
Well, at least they're listening to the fans, I guess, who are the people who end up going to the games. It's a weird symbiotic relationship, right? I mean, the soccer excitement wouldn't be there without the fans, but also the fans wouldn't be there without the soccer, right? Whatever it is. Thanks for bringing this topic to me and the listeners, Ivan. I definitely would have completely overlooked this and not cared at all.
Definitely did. You were like, what the fuck is that?
I did say that, and then I looked it up, and I still said...
You can spend 4 hours watching Justice League, but you couldn't spend an hour researching the Super League?
I did spend an hour researching it.
You said a half hour.
Okay, I said half hour. While I was playing Final Fantasy VII.
Please skim the article.
I was listening to the report, and I did skim the article. But also, I did try, Ivan. I tried my hardest. No, it was definitely interesting to see what's going on. I haven't paid attention to club soccer in a long time now. So
me neither. This is the story that drew me back in. All right, Julien. Well, thank you so much for talking about a topic that I cared about, that you at least reasonably faked your interest in.
Hey, I read some talking points. Thank you, Ivan. No, thanks for doing this topic.
And thank you to all the listeners for keeping up. If you listen this far, leave a little comment and saying how you want to thank Julien for letting me talk for 45 minutes straight, basically. All right, thank you guys. Bye.